Ladies and gentlemen, friends from the media, good morning. Welcome to the press conference organized by the ICAO on January 1st. The overall plan for the construction of a Hainan Free Trade Port officially introduced, which drew everyone's attention. With us today, we have Mr. Liu Zhigui, Secretary of the CPC Hainan Provincial Committee and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the Hainan Provincial People's Congress, and Mr. Shen Xiaoming, Deputy Secretary of the CPC Hainan Provincial Committee and the Governor of Hainan People's Government, and Mr. Liu Nanqiu, Vice Chairman of NDRC, Madame Zhou Jiayi, Vice Minister of Finance, Mr. Wang Shouwen, Vice Minister of Commerce and Deputy China International Trade Representative, Mr. Pan Gongsheng, Deputy Governor of PBOC and Administrator of SAFE, and Mr. Li Guo, Vice Minister of General Administration of Customs of China. They will give you a brief introduction and then answer some of your questions. And now I give the floor to Mr. Li Jian. Friends from the media, good morning. To construct the free trade port in Hainan actually is
on June the 1st, the CPC Central Committee and State Council published the overall plan for the development of the FTP. Now, in light of the careful study of General Secretary's Xi's important instructions, I will give you a briefing about the overall plan. Generally speaking, we have focused on three aspects in the overall plan. Firstly, upholding the centralized and unified leadership of the CPC Central Committee and socialism with Chinese characteristics. Number two, we aim to meet high-end international rules, give priority to institutional innovation, and promote the facilitation and liberalization of production factors. And number three, we put forward measures when conditions arise. And to put it aptly, we need to keep to the right direction, carry forward our traditions, break new grounds, promote facilitation and convenience. The main content of the institutional design of FTP can be summed up as 6 + 1 + 4. 6 refers to the liberalization and facilitation of trade, investment, cross-border capital flow, personnel flow, and transportation, as well as the secure and orderly flow of data. The overall plan has stipulated a series of institutional arrangements focused on the above 6 areas. For trade facilitation, the measures will mainly feature zero tariffs for trading goods and relaxed restrictions on both market access and business operation for trading services. So, we will, as I mentioned, relax restrictions on both market access and business operation for trading services. For investment facilitation, to put it simply, market access will be significantly expanded to further boost the vitality of various market entities. For cross-border capital flow, following the principle that finance shall better serve the real economy, capital accounts will be opened up in stages based on facilitation of trading services to promote the unimpeded flow of capital across the border between Hainan FTP and overseas in an orderly way. For personnel flow, a more flexible talent and residence permit policies for high-caliber talent will be enacted to develop Hainan into a talent pool. transport facilitation, a series of highly liberalized facilitating and open transportation policies will be rolled out to make Hainan FTP an international shipping and aviation hub along the new international land sea corridor. For the secure and orderly flow of data, measures will be taken to open up the data-related industry and develop the digital economy on the precondition of ensuring secure and controllable data flow. One refers to building a modern industrial system. Hainan FTP will be built with a real economy of distinctive Hainan characteristics, which fits Hainan's unique advantages and is underpinned by high-tech and eco-friendly industries. Tourism, modern services, and high-tech industries will be prioritized in our development. 4 refers to strengthening institutional structure in taxation, social governance, rule of law, and risk prevention and control. Firstly, establish a taxation system applicable to a high-level free trade port, step by step, based on principles of zero tariffs, low tariff tax rates, a streamlined tax structure, strengthen law enforcement, a phased implementation. Secondly, set up a comprehensive, standardized, and efficient free trade port governance system with the focus on promoting the institutional reform and function transformation of the government. Thirdly, create a world-class legal environment with a legal system based on Hainan Free Trade Port law and consisting of local regulations and commercial dispute settlement mechanisms.
营造国际一流的自由贸易港法治环境。
In this way, we will create a first-class legal environment for FTP. Fourthly, formulate effective and target-oriented measures to prevent and diffuse major risks in trade, investment, finance, public health, and eco-environment, and strictly hold the bottom line of avoiding any systemic risk. The step-by-step and phased arrangements mainly refer to the major tasks in the 2 phases of Hainan FTP construction. The first phase by 2025 focuses on liberalization and facilitation of trade and investment, with efforts made to promote opening up in an orderly manner and enhance the free and efficient flow of various production factors based on effective supervision. An island-wide special customs supervision regime will then be launched in due time on the basis of preliminary achievements. In about 3 years, we expect to make breakthroughs so as to lay down a solid basis for our target for 2025. The second phase by 2035 focuses on further optimizing, opening up policies, and relevant institutional arrangements to develop a free trade port at high level with free trade and investment, unimpeded flow of cross-border capital, personnel, and transportation, as well as the secure and orderly flow of data. In this way, we will basically form a comprehensive legal system, industrial system, a modern governance system, and make Hainan a priority area of China's opening up. For the next stage, following the important instructions of General Secretary Xi, we will work together with Hainan Province and relevant departments to carry out the overall plan, highlight key areas, and move forward in a phased and step-by-step manner. We will lose no time and take solid steps to implement various measures and build Hainan FTP with high quality and high standards. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I give the floor to Party Secretary Mr. Liu. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, good morning. First of all, I wish to thank all of you for your interest and support in Hainan's efforts in reform and opening up. I wish to take this opportunity to send a message to investors from across the world and to all those from different sectors of the society. Thank you for your support to our efforts.
在海南设立自由贸易港
To establish
是习近平主
a
席
FTP in Hainan
亲自谋
is a
划
major national strategy
亲自部署
designed, planned, and
亲
promoted
自推
by
动
General
的
Secretary Xi Jinping
重
himself.
大的国家战略，彰显了
This major
中
step
国
embodies
开放的门
China's commitment
不会关
that
闭，
its door to opening up will
只会
only open
越开
wider
越
to
大。
the outside world.
海南是中国最南部的一个省份。
Hainan Province is at the southernmost of China.
1988年
In 1988,
建设
we established this province and started the development of this special
一直以来
economic
得到了
zone. And over the past
党中
years,
央
we have received
全国人民的关注
support
支持，
and assistance from the Central Party Committee as well as
特别是
people across the
2018年
society.
4月
In
13号，
2018, on
习
April
近
the
平总书记
13th,
在海南
General Secretary Xi
建
Jinping
省班基义特区
delivered an important
30周
speech
年纪念大会
on the
上，
30th anniversary of
发表了
Hainan
重要
Special
讲话。
Economic Zone.
确定海南全岛建设自贸
He
区
identified the
和中国
objective
特色自贸
that
港，
we will establish a free trade zone
并且把
on the
海南的
Hainan
定位
Island and develop it into a
确定为
free trade port.
改革开放的试验区，
Hainan will be developed
国家生态文明
into
建设的
a
示范
pilot
区，
area for comprehensively deepening reform
国际
and
旅游
opening
消
up
费中
a
心，
national pilot zone for ecological
国家
development,
重大战
a
略
center
的
for international
服务保障
tourism
区。
consumption, and a service area supporting major national strategies.
我们在这2年来啊，
Over the past 2
坚
years,
决地按照
since this very important
习近平
speech,
总书记和
we
党
have
中央的一系
worked
列重要部
vigorously
署，
to implement the
高
instructions
标准的去
from
推进
General Secretary Xi as well
自贸
as the
区的建设。
CPC Central Committee, and
所以
we
这
have
2年
promoted the
实际上
development of this
自贸
free
区
trade zone.
为自贸港
In fact,
的
all the
产
efforts
生
that we
定
have made over the past
确立
2 years have
奠定了
laid
良好
a
的基
very
础。
solid foundation for the development, for the further
我们
development of
坚
this
持高标
free
准、高质
trade
量的
port. We pursue high
建设
standard
全
and
岛自
high
由贸易
quality
事业区。
development of the island-wide pilot
我
free
们确
trade
定
zone
了18个先导性的
with
项目，
18 pilot projects as breakthroughs.
对
We
中央
have
的1+N 的政策
effectively
体
put in
系，
place the 1+N
结合海
policy
南的
system
实际，
with one national guideline at the
化
center and multiple
去推进
supporting
落实。
policy measures suited to Hainan's
特别这2年来
Hainan's
呢，我们
local
在
conditions.
官网、电网、
We have made tangible
气
achievements
网、
in
路
terms
网、
of
水网这5网的基
connectivity
础设施建
development
设方面，为全岛的同城化
and
打下
all
了一个
those
很好的基础。
developments in terms of connectivity have
特别
laid a
是
solid foundation for the integrated development of the whole
在
island.
总书记413重要讲话后，
After this very
我们
important speech made by
召开了
President Xi,
全会来贯彻。
we've held
全会做
plenary
出了一个很
sessions
重要的
of
决
the
定，
Provincial Party Committee
就是
and
100万
made a
人
very
才
important decision
进海
that
南。
we will invite 1 million talents this special campaign to
同时，我
invite more
们
professionals to
在谋
Hainan.
划推动智慧海南的建设，
And we are also promoting the smart development
就海南的
of this
发展
province. Because
要高
we
标准，
realize that we need to pursue high standard
从高标
development
准
for
的要
this
求，
province, and to
那必须
achieve this,
对海南的建设
we must
要高起点。
set very high
所以在
standard
国家发改委等
for
部
the
门
further
的支持下，
development of the province, and
那
with
么
the
智慧
special
海南的方
support
案呢，
from the
也已
NDRC
经
and other
经过中央
relevant
批准。
departments, the development plan
我们在
for
这2
smart
年中
Hainan have been
还特别
approved
注
by
重
the
制
central
度创
government.
新。
Also, we have paid special attention
先后
to
有
institutional innovation,
77项的制度
and
创
we
新，
have released
发布。
77 exemplary
许多呢是
cases
在
for
全
reference.
国首创的。
Many of them are among the
我们
first
对
in
营商环
China.
境、
We are also improving business environment and rolled out 69 measures in light of World Bank standards.
领域的对标世界银行的一个标准
other internationally recognized standards.
所以我们现在海南的营商环境在
It's fair to say that now the business environment in Hainan has been improving, especially measures such as the one-stop service, the minimal approval procedures, and the single window service for international trade and investment have made notable results.
与此同时呢，我们严格的控制
At the same time,
房地产，
we have strictly implemented real estate
就是海南的
regulation
房地产
policies
不是外面想要多少就建多少，
to avoid
成为
speculation. It's
房
not
地产
that
的加工厂。
we are just a processing factory for real estate because we only have very limited land resources.
而且历史上也有过教训，
And throughout history, we have learned some hard
所以
lessons
在
in
构
terms
建
of
现代化
real
产业
estate
体系方面，
development. Therefore,
不能
to
是单一。
establish a modern industrial system, we should not just focus
这2
on
年呢
one， single
我们
sector.
大力的吸引外资，
Over the past 2 years, we have
大力的吸
attracted
引市场的主
a
体。
large amount of foreign investment and
2
foreign
年来新
entities
增了
to
44.4万户的
Hainan.
市场主体。
444,000 new entities have
那么
entered
比
the market in the past 2
2018年
years.
413讲话
That
之
is
前
an increase
增长了
of
66%。
65% from April the 13th,
新开工的
2018.
1亿元以上的项目
Now there are
有572个，
572 new projects
总投资呢
that
是
each registers an
5828
investment
亿
of over 100 billion yuan,
其中
with a
10
total
亿元以上
investment
的
of
有125
582
个，
billion
总投资
yuan. Among them,
4430
125
亿。
projects have investment
总
of
投资在
more than
100
1
亿元
billion
以上
yuan,
的项目有
registering
5
a
个。
total of 443 billion, and 5 of them each has
我们在发展的
investment over 10
同时
billion yuan.
十分注重
While we
生态
develop our
环境的保
economy,
护
we have paid special attention to protecting
所
the
以也一
environment,
直是处在
and
全国领先
our
的
environment
这种地位。
has been among the best in China.
为了实现管得住，才能放得开这
We
一目
know
标，
it's important to
我们
strengthen
建立了
control and
完
prevention
整的
while ensuring further
社会管理
opening up. And that is
体系。
why we are trying to establish and improve
自
the
由港
social
在
management
零关税
system.
后，
After the zero
全岛通
tariff
关。
treatment, we will implement
最重要的是
the island-wide
要防止
special
走
customs
私。
regime. And the most important thing for us to do
因此我们
is to prevent smuggling.
这2年实际上已经在
And that is why, over the
对
past 2
防
years,
防止走私、
efforts have been made in this regard.
构建呢近海
We are trying to
岸线
establish 3 lines of defense
和岛内商
from
道
offshore to the
防控
province
圈
border to within the island to prevent smuggling.
那么自由港的总体方案发布后啊，
After the release of this
我们过
overall
2天就要召
plan,
开省
and
委
very soon
7届8次全会，
we will hold the 8th plenary of the 7th Provincial
将
Party Committee.
落实好总书记的重要批示，
That is one of the efforts to
和
implement the instruction
中央发布的
from
总体
General
方案。
Secretary Xi and the overall plan of the central
主要
government.
是海南怎么贯彻，
The main focus will be
怎么贯彻到
how
位？
we could implement
怎
to
么
the
样
very
干一件
detail
成一件。
the overall plan, how we can ensure each of our work could be successful.
这里呢有这么几个重点，
I think we have the following
一个呢，
focus.
我们始终坚持
First,
党对
we will
自贸
always
党的
uphold and strengthen the
建设的
overall
领导。
leadership of the party,
这种领导是全面的，
because this will be a very
牢牢
overall
把
and
握好
comprehensive
自贸
leadership.
港建设的正确
And
方
that
向。
is how we can keep to the right
以习
direction
近
of
平
building this
新时代中国特
free
色
trade
社会主义
port.
思想为
We
指
will
导，
continue to follow Xi Jinping's thought on
进一
socialism
步地
with
增强
Chinese
市民意识，
characteristics uphold political integrity, keep in mind the bigger picture, follow the leadership core and meet party requirements, and keep confidence in our past theory, system, and culture, and make sure that we will always follow the party leadership in developing the FTP under the direct leadership of the Hainan Leading Group for comprehensively deepening reform and opening up. We have completed the breakdown of the overall plan and formulated timetables and roadmaps, and will urge authorities at all levels to fulfill their tasks. Over the province, we have carried out special campaigns to encourage contribution from across the society. We have the spirit of the province, that is a pioneering and hardworking spirit, and we will use every day to its utmost and make sure that every task is fully completed. And secondly, we will adhere to the high standard of opening up policies to try to attract more business and talents from across the world to invest in Hainan. We will pay more attention to attracting foreign investment and to attracting professionals from overseas. And we will implement all the policies and measures supporting the development of the FTP with a special focus on institutional innovation and institutional integration. To achieve high quality and high standard development of the Hainan FTP, we must embrace institutional integration and innovation, and we must emancipate our minds. We must make bold innovations and introduce policies once conditions are ready to make steady progress for a long time to come. Because all the policies supporting the development of the FTP should be a comprehensive, scientific, and efficient system. Integration and innovation of the institutions should be focused on trade and investment liberalization and facilitation. So, institutional integration is very important. We must put in place the proper institutions that is suited to the development of the FTP, including management system, legal framework. Especially, we need to properly balance the relationship between facilitating cross-border trade and strengthening internal control and promoting the free flow of production factors and dissolve all kinds of risks. Our purpose is to achieve high standard and high quality opening up and to make Hainan FTP a new platform of China's reform and opening up. We will always put the people's interests front and center. The Hainan FTP will not just benefit the 9.4 million people in Hainan, but also benefit the more than 1.4 billion Chinese people. We need to bring them better sense of gain and fulfillment. In this regard, we need to promote the development in the rural and urban area, especially this year as we are completing the building of a moderately prosperous society. We will leave no one behind in this social development effort. And during this process, we hope that investors to Hainan can truly benefit from the dividends of the development of Hainan FTP. At the same time, we will always be prepared for the worst-case scenarios and make sure that risk prevention and control are in place. Learning from Hainan's ups and downs in the history, we will always be vigilant that proper control is the premise of opening up. We will strengthen the awareness of risk prevention and control and establish and improve mechanisms and supporting measures to enable scientific analysis, accurate response, and well-calibrated measures in terms of trade and investment, the flow of people and cash, and ecological and public health areas to ensure the long-term and stable development of this free trade port. Ladies and gentlemen, here I wish to invite friends and investors from all over the world and all the professionals from across the world to come to Hainan to start your business. You are all welcome to participate in the development of the Hainan FTP and to share in the opportunities provided by China's development. You are all welcome to share the development benefits and the reform and opening up of China. Now the floor is open for questions.
好，谢谢主持人。刘书记你好，中央广播电视总台央视记者提问。
With CCTV.
俗话说呢，21世纪最缺的是人才。
People say talents and professionals are most needed in the 21st century. You talk about the need to attract more talents to Hainan. So I assume that you want to attract more talents to Hainan. So what will be the detailed measures for you to attract more talents to come to Hainan to contribute? Thank you very much.
海南呢，虽然我们有改革开放30多年的这种历史
Though in Hainan we have over 30 years of reform and opening up experience, and we have had some previous campaigns that have attracted over 100,000 professionals to the island, but that was carried out in 1988, and most of the and at that time Hainan was just a part of the Guangdong province. Therefore, in terms of the foundation for development, in terms of the pooling of and the strength of professionals, this is still a weak link in terms of the province's development. So now we have a plan that by 2025 we will attract over 100,000, over 1 million talents to Hainan. That is one of the efforts to attract more professionals to contribute to Hainan's development. We have received generous support from the party's organizational department as well as other departments and agencies. Over the past 2 years, many high-calibered professionals and senior-level officials from the provincial, from the city, even from the county-level governments, over 200 of them have been assigned to Hainan Province. So they will have to work in Hainan for around 2 to 3 years instead of previously just half a year. Such an arrangement is one effort of the central government agencies to implement General Secretary Xi's important speech, as he pointed out in the speech that Hainan's development and opening up is one major national strategy, and we must pool all the resources across the country, including talents and professionals. So here is a message of gratitude To all the governments at the central level, thank you for your support to Hainan's development. To implement the instructions of General Secretary Xi, we have identified this campaign of 1 million talents to Hainan, and we have established a special task force inside the provincial committee. I myself will serve as the head of this committee, so we will have regular meetings to roll out detailed policies and measures, including measures to encourage a better role of those professionals, including preferential policies in housing, education of their younger generation, and other aspects. As a result, over 100,000 people have been attracted to Hainan to start their own business. Compared with previously in 1988, we have some difference. Back then, those who were holding doctor's degrees arrived in Hainan but can only do some minimal labor work, even polish the shoes on the streets, because we don't have proper jobs and positions for them. But now, for this 1 million people that we aim to attract to Hainan, we have prepared proper positions for them. Recently, we will attract and recruit over 40,000 professionals from across the globe, and we have received very enthusiastic applications. The most important thing is that people and professionals, they have the willingness to come to Hainan. But the premise should be that we should make all the preparations ready so that they are willing to come here to play their role in social development. Though we have very good environment, good air and water quality, and very nice food, but this will not be enough to attract talents, because they care more about whether they can start a successful business. Therefore, we must have proper positions or business ready for them. We also need to provide proper education for their children, because this will be another concern for those professionals. Over the past 2 years, we have worked with over 80 best schools, from kindergartens to primary schools to middle schools. We have started collaboration with those very good schools to provide good education for the children of the talents. In addition, we need to provide proper health care for the professionals, and that is why we have worked together with over 50 different healthcare agencies around the globe. They have started their business and operations in Hainan. So I think now people are more willing to come to Hainan. I have this confidence. And second issue on our agenda is how we can sustain their stay in Hainan, whether they have a proper job to stay for the long term to come. The recent recruitment shows that more people are likely to stay in Hainan for the long time to come. I think that is the result of the preferential policies as well as the very good environment in Hainan. And now with the release of the FTP policies, we will have more policy strength to attract more professionals to our province.
当然，我这里要特别的讲的是，我们是在旅游业、现代服务业和高新技术产业、自3个领域
modern services and high-tech industries are our special attention in terms of the province's development.
这种，它还有一个是整体的团队、总部的经济。
So we are also hoping to attract the whole team and some high-end company to bring more people together to Hainan, like a company could bring to our island more than 1,000 members. And also we are trying to attract more market entities. Over the past 2 years, we have had 444,000 more entities, and the growth rate has been kept over 30% annually.
超过100万户。
Now we have over 1 million market entities, though we have only around 9 million people population, but we have over 1 million market entities, and that is just up to now. And I have the confidence that with the strength in our new policies, we will have more market entities to start their
我这里
business
还
in
要
Hainan.
讲一下，就是我们不是光吸引人才，还注重本地人才的。
As we
他们作用不
endeavor to attract people from outside the island, we also focus on encouraging the role of local talents and local professionals because they are the mainstream of our of the people here contributing to the development. So while we were rolling out policies to introduce more, to attract more professionals from outside, we're also paying attention to the training and utilization of local talents. We are sending more officials and professionals to central level governments. And every year, we have around 100 officials that have been sent to central level governments to receive further training. The FTP is an island-wide project. And the majority of the population in Hainan are located in rural areas, and the majority of the land in Hainan are rural land. So the development of rural areas in Hainan bears on the overall success of the Hainan FTP. That is why farmers are also on top of our agenda in terms of the training programs. We have provided special training programs for rural doctors and rural teachers, and we have rolled out preferential policies in terms of their salaries, in terms of their housing and work benefits, so that they are willing to stay in the rural areas instead of going to the cities. To develop this island-wide FTP, we must improve the overall development and the quality of professionals in rural areas. Recently, we have honored many outstanding professionals and craftsmen from different local areas of Hainan. We hope that this could encourage them to contribute more to the province's development. Thank you very much. China News Agency. We need the active participation of market entities in the development of FTP. What are the core policies that will benefit those market entities?
I still remember that a couple of years ago, General Secretary Xi Jinping made important remarks on April the 13th, whereby he welcomed investment of businesses across the world, welcomed their active participation in the development of Hainan FTP, and enjoyed the development opportunities of Hainan and enjoy the benefits of Hainan's reform and opening up. Well, the development of FTP requires the participation of businesses. So, on June the 1st, when the overall plan was adopted, we identified 60 solid preferential policies for the businesses and published them through WeChat accounts. Within 40 short minutes, lots of people, even 500,000 readers, read those WeChat accounts within 2 hours, which shows that businesses attach great importance to the development of Hainan FTP. There are so many preferential policies. Here I just want to highlight 4 aspects of the policies. Number 1, it is about liberalization and facilitation of investment. Hainan FTP enjoys very preferential policy in this field. There can be access unless there is very clear legal restrictions and limitations. In principle, the government would remove approval procedures, and the business just need to file for record. And as long as they promise that they meet relevant standards and conditions, then they can do their business. For the government authorities responsible for accepting the record filing process, they will carry out supervision over those businesses. We would adopt the pre-establishment national treatment plus negative list management system for investors. On the basis of free trade area, our FTP would further shorten the prohibitive and banning clauses of the negative list. For businesses getting registered within the FTP, we would support them to issuing stocks overseas in order to get financing. In addition, if the businesses are involved in modern services, high-tech industry, and tourism, as well as other areas that we encourage the development, then the gains from their foreign direct investment can be exempt from tax. So in this sense, we have a comprehensive set of policy package. Number 2, for zero tariff for trading services. With the launch of special customs supervision regime, except for some products that cannot be exempt from tariff, all the products can enjoy zero tariff treatment. Before the launch of the special customs supervision regime, we would identify 4 types of products for zero tariff. Number 1, raw materials for production. And number 2, supplementary materials. Number 4, transportation vehicles. And number 4, consumer goods for residents. Based on my rough calculation, the cost of imported yacht would be down by 38%. So if one wants to import a yacht with 10 million yuan, then one needs to pay 3.8 million yuan. But if you want to buy a yacht in Hainan, then you do not need to pay 3.8 million yuan. So you can save 3.8 million yuan by buying the yacht. If you want to import entertainment facilities, the tax would be deducted by 20%. Recently, I visited a biotech business in Haikou City. The manager of that company told me that he wanted to buy 300 million yuan of R&D facilities. Previously, he needs to pay 300 million yuan, and with the adoption of our provincial policy, he only needs to pay 200 million yuan, saving 100 million yuan. So this shows that Hainan would be the very good destination to make investment and carry out R&D because he can hire more people and buy more products in Hainan. We also have the Yangpu bonded area and other special areas. We will have the origin of registry principle, which means that for the products which contain some imported raw materials and in some special zones, if the added value can increase to 30%, then the products, when they are finding their way to the mainland of China, then they do not need to pay tariff or taxes. Let me share with you an example. Every year, China imports beef, mutton, and pork, about over 6 million tons of such products. In last year, the imported frozen products increased by 45% over the previous year. So it is increasing at a high speed. Let me raise my example about frozen beef. For whole beef import or half beef or half whole cattle import or half cattle import, the import tariff is 70%. MFN treatment is 25%. If you want to import whole cattle or half cattle to Yangpu bonded area, and then you split the cattle and carry out rough processing. For example, you divide the cattle into different types of meat, for example, the leg meat, and then the value would easily increase by 30%. And in this way, such products, when find their market on the mainland of China, then they would save 70% or 25% of tariff. In this way, the profit margin of businesses would be huge. And our people would enjoy more inexpensive imported beef. So the principle of place of origin can deliver a lot of value. Number 3, it is about income tax. Starting from now to 2025, for those individuals and businesses meeting relevant conditions, they would be exempt from income tax. For example, for businesses getting registered in Hainan, starting their businesses and meet relevant conditions, and they would only need to pay 15% of income tax. And for high-end talents working in Hainan, as long as they have stayed in Hainan for 183 days or more, then their personal income tax would be greatly reduced. If the tax burden is over 15% of their income, then they would enjoy a tax exemption. So for these high-end talents, they can have very good tax preferential treatment. And number 4, it is about the opening up of the service sector. We will significantly remove market barriers in terms of tourism, high-tech, and other areas. We would adopt a lot of preferential policies, including commercial services, financial, education, culture, sports, and other fields. We will further open up the market. For example, in basic telecom sector, so far, the policy across the country is that the Chinese side need to control the stake. And for the first time in the overall plan, we mentioned for the first time that we would open up this sector in an orderly manner. We also support the development of overseas securities and fund market. We develop their wholly owned or jointly controlled businesses. We also welcome the development and operation of first-class colleges to run their schools and universities in Hainan. These policies are the first of its kind. There are a lot of detailed policies, and we will soon release and interpret those policies to the public and answer the questions from the society. If you have any questions, you can read from our website or post the questions to us. We will give you prompt answers. Soon, Hainan will organize various business fairs and will welcome your participation. Thank you. Next question, please. With the economic news of Japan, the target of this overall plan is to make Hainan a hub of finance in the world. Does this mean that Hainan would in some way replace Hong Kong's functions?
Thank you for this question. We are all aware that for Hong Kong, Singapore, and Dubai, they are currently very fine examples of high-standard free trade port. They have each their own features. For Hong Kong, it's a major international financial shipping and trading center. It was reviewed as the most free economy and the most competitive economy on multiple occasions. After the return of Hong Kong to China, it has maintained prosperity and stability and has been deeply integrated into the Chinese national endeavor for national rejuvenation. But the development of FTP in Hainan, and during this whole process, we need, of course, to learn from the advanced experience and expertise from across the world so that we can explore a very competitive way of development and put in place a competitive system in Hainan. At the same time, we need to leverage the unique strengths of Hainan, that is its special geographic location and its rich natural resources, as well as its special location that is very connected to a very huge market, as well as its strengths in tourism. We need to develop tourism industry on the island, as well as modern services, so that the Hainan FTP can have its unique strengths and we can contribute to the development of an open economy and economic globalization. So in this sense, their positioning are quite different. The priority area are very different. So it's quite complementary instead of competitive between Hainan and Hong Kong. It will not pose a severe challenge or threat to Hong Kong. Going forward, we will also promote integrated development of Hainan and the Greater Bay Area, and we will, through these efforts, ensure stability and prosperity of Hong Kong and ensure the long-term implementation of the one country, two systems. Thank you very much.
好，谢谢主持人。海南广播电视总台全媒体记者。
Hainan TV。
海南自贸港建设总体方案提出构建海南自贸港政策和制度体系的设计要以
According to the overall plan, we need to prioritize trade and investment liberalization and facilitation. What are the major considerations? What are the special characteristics?
好，谢谢你的提问。贸易自由化、便利化是这个全世界。
Trade liberalization and facilitation is a common feature of most of the free trade ports in the world.
很多的区域的自由贸易协定、双边的自由贸易协定
In many of the regional or bilateral or multilateral free trade agreements, they have all emphasized on liberalization and facilitation.
海南自由贸易港制度
Therefore, trade liberalization and facilitation is, of course, an important part in the overall plan of Hainan FTP. We have prioritized integration and innovation, and we must learn from the expertise around the world, and we must give full play to the strengths of Hainan, and all the arrangements must be suited to Hainan's local conditions, and all the efforts must serve China's overall reform and opening up. First, about trade in goods, and then about trade in services. In terms of trade in goods, we have the following features. First is the zero tariff treatment. So we will have a catalog of products, and those products outside this catalog will enjoy a zero tariff treatment. And then we aim to achieve zero barriers. Because we have different kinds of barriers in addition to tariff barriers, such as certificates. So we will exercise zero barriers to products in Hainan FTP. We will also have a list or a catalog, and those products outside this catalog will enjoy zero barriers. And third, we will promote facilitation for products to enter the Hainan FTP. We have this single window service for international trade and investment. This will be very convenient, and we will work to ensure efficient and convenient customs service. And fourth, as we implement zero tariff, zero barrier, and all the facilitation methods, we must effectively guard against and control risks. So we need to have high standard and smart and precise supervision with high standard infrastructure in place. In terms of trading services, according to WTO, there are 4 modes of supply.
境外消费、跨境交付和自然人移动，我们把它叫做跨境服务贸易。
And cross-border supply, consumption abroad, and the presence of natural persons in a different country are identified as cross-border service, cross-border service, trade, and we will have a negative list. And those outside this negative list will enjoy very free treatment or all the facilitation methods. So this is about better access to the market. And also, commercial presence is one mode of supply in trading services. This means that they have a commercial presence here in Hainan, and we need to allow their presence in Hainan. And during this process, we need to consider their qualification, their technical requirements, the transparency in supervision and other requirements, and we will further standardize all those procedures so we can also facilitate commercial presence in Hainan. That's about trade in services. So we will ensure better market access and we will ensure more business operations. According to the two-stage overall plan, during the first stage, before 2025, we will complete the first phase task, including works in 3 areas to achieve some early harvest. First is to implement the first line liberalization and second line control in the Yangpu boundary port zone. And second is to put in place proper lists and catalogs, 1 active list and 3 kinds of catalogs. Before the implementation of the island-wide special customs regime, we will have the negative list in terms of zero tariff, and we will have 3 more catalogs that will identify different kinds of products, including the vehicles for transportation on the island and equipment and materials for the self-use of the companies, as well as those consumption products for people living on the islands. They will be included in the 3 catalogs. So those on these 3 catalogs will enjoy zero tariff treatment. That is also one part of the early harvest. And before the end of the year, we will have an active list for cross-border trading services. That is about the 3 modes of trading services: cross-border supply, consumption abroad, and presence of natural persons in another country. These 3 modes of supply will have an active list, and those that are not designated on this active list will enjoy better and preferential treatment. This will be the first such active list in China in terms of trading services, cross-border trading services. Thank you very much.
谢主持人，中国财经报提问。
China Financial News.
周部长的。2025年封关运作前，海南自由贸易港
Before the end of 2025, we will have some early harvest in terms of zero tariff treatment. What are the considerations of the Ministry of Finance?
Thank you for your question. My colleagues just now all mentioned zero tariff policy. Zero tariff indeed is a very important institutional design of Hainan FTA. Specifically, we implement the zero tariff policy and other institutional arrangements step by step. The early harvest of zero tariff policy means that before 2025, when the special customs supervision regime would be launched, some imported goods would enjoy zero tariff. They will be exempt from various duties, tariff, and import taxes. And such policy cover the following areas. For the equipment to be used by businesses, there would be zero tariff negative list. And number 2, for vehicles. For vehicles used for tourism and other uses, for example, ships, aircraft, and yachts, there would be a zero tariff positive list. Number 3, for raw materials. for raw materials for the production used in Hainan and for the manufacturing of export products, then such raw materials would enjoy zero tariff positive list treatment. And number 4, for consumer goods of Hainan residents. For those products consumed by the residents, they would enjoy positive list management, and the residents can buy them duty-free. These are the 4 types of goods or lists mentioned by Mr. Wang Shouwen. And let me add something here. That is, 50, we would relax the shopping policy. The shopping quota would increase from the current 30,000 yuan every year to 100,000 yuan. And on the basis of the current 38 categories of goods, we would add a lot more categories. We will also make it more convenient for tourists to go shopping. So if you want to go sightseeing in Hainan, then I would suggest that you take more money with you and buy as many products as possible out there. Number 4, we support the development of exhibition sector in Hainan. We would study the possibility of extending duty-free policy for the products imported and consumed during exhibitions in Hainan. So this is what we mean by early harvest. When conditions are ripe, when in 2025, with the launch of the special customs supervision regime, then on the basis of streamlining the tax system, we would extend zero tariff to imported products outside tax catalog. That would be the ultimate institutional arrangement for zero tariff. Just now, Mr. Wang Shouwen mentioned that the central government would formulate a list of products, and only those products on the list need to pay taxes. And for all other products off the list, they would enjoy zero tariff treatment. The early harvest of the zero tariff policy is very extensive. It covers various sectors of economic life of Hainan. It can benefit the producers, such as businesses. It can also benefit consumers, such as residents and tourists. It supports the producers of materials as well as service providers. It covers large production equipment, vehicles. It also covers the daily necessities and daily products and daily consumer goods of residents. For the next stage, we would formulate 4 lists, 1 negative and 3 positive. As we formulate these lists, we would focus on high-tech industry, eco-friendly industry, and industries with distinctive Hainan features, so as to consolidate the foundation of the real economy in Hainan. Meanwhile, in light of the conditions in Hainan, we would make adjustment to the 4 lists. Generally speaking, we would gradually shorten the negative list and gradually expand the positive lists and continue to deliver the benefits from zero tariff policy. Early harvest need to be focused on early implementation. We need to attract a lot of personnel, material, and funding flows to Hainan so as to provide support for the development of Hainan FTP and boost people's confidence in the development of Hainan. Meanwhile, we can gain some experience for the launch of island-wide special customs supervision regime in Hainan after 2025. We would follow the provisions of the overall plan, make active efforts, and implement the fiscal policies of the FTP, and build the FTP with high quality and high standards, and make the FTP a pioneering area of China's reform and opening up in the new era. Next question, please. With the Economic Daily, according to the overall plan, there needs to be a risk prevention system and efforts need to be made to diffuse the risks. What kind of risks will be there and how to strengthen the system to prevent the risks? Thank you.
Thank you for this question.
海南自贸港的是在中华民族伟大复兴
The development of this Hainan FTP
在百年未有
is
之
one
大变局
integral part of the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation. It coincides with the major changes happening in the recent century.
改革开放的一个鲜明的特征。
And it will be a unique feature underlying
作为自贸
China's
港，
reform and
海
opening
南
up.
呢现在正在拉开序幕，
We are starting
这是一
the
个伟大的事业，
preparations for the establishment of this FTP. This
是中国
is
唯
a
一一
great
个自贸港。
cause. It is currently
谁也
the
没有经历
only
过。
one such free trade port in China. No one has
但
previous
是
experience.
我们一定会
But
在建设的过程，
we have the confidence and resolve to
把你刚
ensure
才提
its
到的这个问题，
success. As you
风险
mentioned,
防控
risk prevention and control. This
真
is
正
very important. So
摆在
during
重
the
要的
whole
位置。
process, we will attach great
有一句话
importance
叫“管得
to
住
this issue.
才能放得开
Because we know to ensure further opening up, we need to first
有些风
have in
险
place
我们
proper
现在是可以
control
预
and
料的。
prevention. Some of the risks are predictable.
刚才周部长讲的
Just now, Minister Zhou,
一户
she
三证
talked about
四
the
张清单，
4 lists.
我们也做了分析，这里面有
And
什么风
according
险？
to our
怎么
analysis,
防控？
there are some risks in the 4 lists, and we have considered
那么
the
有一些
measures
风险呢，
to prevent and control
它是
those
在发展过
risks
程
in
中
terms of the 4 lists.
它不断的
Those
可能出
are
现。
predictable risks, but there will also be
但
risks
是也要有
that
这
will
种意
only
识，
emerge as we proceed with
筹谋。
our work, but we need to be prepared.
我想在这里呢，首先要明确，我们自贸港，海南自贸港是
What's important
中
is
国
that
特色社会主义制
we
度的
must
自贸港，
recognize that this FTP is an
走中国特色社会主义道
FTP
路
that
是
is under
坚定
the
不移。
socialism with Chinese characteristics. So every step
也
we
可以说，
take, we
世界
will
上很多的
follow
自贸港是资本主义
the
制度，
socialist system.
但是社会主义
Compared
制度
with
下的
other
自贸港
FTPs in the
就
world
是海南。
that are following some capitalist systems,
所以我们要
here
坚持
in
中国共
Hainan
产
we
党的
have
领
the
导，坚
socialist
持走中国
FTP,
特色社会
and
主
that
义道
is
路。
why we must adhere to the leadership of the CPC Central
有几
Committee,
个不允
and
许，
we must follow socialism with Chinese
不允
Chinese
许危害
characteristics.
国家安全，
We will not do
不
anything
允许
that
在
harm
意识形态
China's state security and safety.
来破坏社
We
会主义的
will
制度，
not let any ideological attempts to
不允
undermine
许通
China's
过
socialist
货物的贸易
system. We will never
走私
allow smuggling in the Hainan
不允
FTP.
许搞防赌毒，
We will never allow the
不允许破坏
practice of
海南
gambling,
良好的生态环
the
境。
smuggling or the business of illicit drugs in Hainan,
不
and
允
we
许在海
will
南
never allow
自贸港
attempts
建设过
that
程
would
中
harm the environment in Hainan,
产生腐败。
and we will
不廉洁的
prevent
行为。
against corruption.
那么对这些原则性的问题呢，
Those are some principled issues.
我们都会制定或者已经制定
We have already
相应
formulated
的
and will roll out
管控
more
措施。
measures to control and prevent those risks. Over the past more than 1 year, the party committee has paid special attention to risk prevention and control. We have carried out very detailed analysis. We have identified 13 major categories of risks, including over 100 specific areas. Those are predictable risks. And as we move forward, we will see more risks emerging, but we will not be afraid because we have the resolve and we have the awareness to prevent and control those risks. And as we go forward, we will keep improving our capacity to prevent and control risks and our capacity in social management. Many of you are following closely the real estate market in Hainan. Now you must meet several requirements before you can buy a house in Hainan. You have to work at least for 1 year in Hainan before you can buy an apartment on the island. But for such restrictive measures, it takes time for us to roll out such measures. And this is the process of controlling and preventing risks. Back in 2015, General Secretary Xi Jinping hosted a national meeting on deepening reforms, and he instructed that Hainan carry out a pilot project in regulation integration. So starting from that year, we have rolled out specific measures to suspend land approval in real estate market and to suspend the approval of new projects for those companies that already have land. Because General Secretary Xi stressed that houses and apartments are not for speculation. Therefore, among the over 200,000 real estate companies in Hainan, many of them are major contributors to the revenues of the local governments in Hainan. But we have cancelled the GDP-related assessment of government performance in 2/3 of the local governments in Hainan, so that the government's performance will not be related or assessed based on GDP, based on fixed asset investment, and other real estate-related economic indicators. As a result, we have put in place some fundamental restraints to the real estate sector. In June 2018, to implement the instructions from General Secretary Xi, we made a very decisive move to put restrictive measures on real estate market across the whole island. Though we have suffered some pains, but compared with the risks and challenges brought to us by the real estate market previously, we are confident that such risks will not appear again in the future. This is what we call preemptive measures. We must take preemptive measures to prevent future risks, and we have many other similar experience or examples in terms of risk prevention and control. But I think the most important thing is to put in place a system for risk prevention. And secondly, in terms of legislation, we have formulated and put in place the regulation on anti-smuggling in Hainan. So this is a legal framework preventing and punishing smuggling for the province. After we put in place the zero tariff treatment, we must have more strict internal management and control, and the focus will be on the smuggling of goods. And that is why we must have in place proper legislation, and that is why the provincial People's Congress put in place this legislation. I also talk about clean governance and anti-corruption. We are having more projects, more investment. The government may have more power in their hands. Without proper control of risks in this area, we will not be able to put in place a good business environment. So in the bidding process of all the projects, we will have a very comprehensive supervision that covers the whole process. We will invite in the inspection committee at the provincial level, different kind of authorities at the provincial level to run supervision over the bidding process of the projects. And then it's about a platform that we newly established in terms of social management. We should properly manage different kinds of issues with tangible actions. We need to put in place proper platforms. And currently we have in place this platform that covers 12 nautical miles of sea area and all the coastal area and all the land inside the island that can effectively monitor smuggling activities. Using satellites and different kind of radar system on land and on the sea, and all kinds of high-tech measures. We can have 24-hour supervision on all the coastlines.
所以我们是在风险管控方面反走私方面是有一套管理的一个机制和平台。
So this is the management system in terms of smuggling risks. Thank you very much.
提问，那个第3排这位理事长。
你好，我是中国日报的记者。
China
然后我想问的问题是从国际成熟的自贸港建设经验看，
Compared
开放的
with
金融政
other
策是一个
international free
比较基
trade
本的特征。
ports,
那么，请问
open
未来在海南自由港的
economic
这个建设当中，
financial
人民银行
policies
在金融
are a
政策
major
设计的方面
feature.
有哪些
So
考虑？
what are the considerations of PBOC in this regard?
Thank you for your question. The free flow of production factors is a key feature of high-level FTPs. The free flow of funding is the most basic form of the flow of production factors. It is the basic condition for trade liberalization and facilitation. So as we develop Hainan FTP, the design and arrangement of financial policy has followed 3 principles. Number 1, we would advance progress in step-by-step manner. Number 2, the financial services would support the liberalization and facilitation of cross-border trade and investment. And number 3, we will hold bottom line of preventing systemic financial risks. On the basis of these 3 principles, we have designed the financial policy framework for the development of Hainan FTP. The framework covers 4 aspects. Number 1, the high-level opening up of capital accounts, convertibility, and cross-border capital flow. And number 2, the opening up of financial services. And number 3, support the real economy with financial innovation. And number 4, preventing financial risks. The first aspect is how the financial sector can support liberalization and facilitation of cross-border trade and investment. We need to have the management policy for cross-border capital flow. This is a key feature of our policy. In terms of cross-border trade, the current account is now convertible. So, in order to facilitate the trade in FTP, the commercial banks will turn from advanced review to compliance oversight. We will also improve the new forms of cross-border trade, for example, offshore trade and transshipment. We will also strengthen financial support for these forms of trade. We will also establish the International Settlement Center for multinational companies. And then we will also adopt the pre-establishment national treatment plus an active list for foreign investors. We will also explore the possibility of developing how to facilitate cross-border investment. Co-RFP policy and co-DRP policies would be developed for Hainan FTP. These 2 types of policies would be adopted in Hainan. And in terms of cross-border financing, we will establish new management system in Hainan and pilot the management framework for cross-border financing and carry out consolidated microprudential management, and gradually the market entities can have access to cross-border financing. With the development of Hainan FTP, we'll also explore the possibility to let the Hainan residents to have more convenience in the financial sector. On the basis of the current accounts of foreign and local currencies, we will establish a stronger platform for the opening up of Hainan. Number 2, we will provide stronger financial service system for the development of Hainan. We will adopt relevant financial opening up policies in Hainan, enrich the forms of financial services, and foster commercial banks so that they can provide greater financial services for the FTP. We will also support the development of platforms of trading of energy and other commodities in Hainan. And number 3, with a focus on key industries in Hainan, we will strengthen financial support and innovation so that the financial sector can give stronger boost to the development of key sectors in Hainan. We will develop fintech, consumer finance, green finance, and high-tech finance. Number 4, we will develop strong system to prevent financial risks in Hainan. We need to better strengthen the supervision and evaluation and monitoring of financial flow in Hainan and establish microprudential framework and establish frameworks to prevent terrorism financing and tax evasion. We will also establish relevant coordination mechanisms to prevent financial risks. For the next step, PBOC will work together with Hainan authorities to follow the instructions of the CPC Central Committee and State Council, follow the overall plan, and provide active financial support to the reform and opening up of Hainan. Thank you. Next question, please. With People's Daily, as a result of COVID-19, a lot of experts are very pessimistic about globalization. And what is the significance of the overall plan for the development of China in this context? Thank you. Thank you for your question. Just now, I gave you a briefing about the overall plan, from which I think we can tell that the development of FTP with Chinese features in Hainan is very important. It is a major strategic decision of the CPC Central Committee on the basis of both domestic and international imperatives. It is a major step in the reform and opening up in China for the whole era, so it is of great significance. Well, I think basically there are 4 aspects of its significance. Number 1, it is important to developing an open economy. As China promotes the development of a modern socialist country, the development of FTP in Hainan can help us draw from international experience, meet high-level international standards, and form competitive opening up policies and institutional arrangements. In this way, we can further promote China's reform and opening up, and Hainan has set a good example and blazed new trail for the reform and opening up of the whole country. Number 2, the development of Hainan FTP can help us build a law-based, international, and convenient business environment. By building FTP in Hainan, we can promote the opening up of goods and production factors. We will also accelerate the institutional opening up of rules, regulations, management, and standards. In this way, we can promote the transformation of government functions, and the government needs to respond to the needs of the people and businesses very promptly, and we can better promote innovation in social governance and build a law-based system. Generally speaking, we will use high-level opening up to drive in-depth reform. In this way, we will build a world-class business environment. Number 3, to build Hainan FTP can help us implement the new development philosophy. We will promote the free, orderly, secure, and convenient cross-border flow of various production factors. We will introduce sophisticated technologies, management expertise, and we will place new grounds in terms of integration of various high-end production factors. Form an industrial system with Hainan features and set a good example for the development of the whole country. So this is one of the key missions of Hainan FTP. And number 4, Hainan FTP is a tangible step to build a community with a shared future for mankind. It is a practice that shows the world that China will only open up further and further to the whole world. China will continue to take solid steps to promote trade and investment liberalization and facilitation and break new ground in opening up and cooperation, spearhead economic globalization, and provide important platform for China's in-depth participation in global economic governance and the making of international economic and trade rules, and provide Chinese plan and Chinese wisdom for the building of a community with a shared future for mankind. Thank you. Next question, please. Thank you. With China National Radio, in the early development of FTP, the Yangpu Bonded Port would take new steps. What will be its key features?
According to the overall plan, the FTP will take a step-by-step and phased approach. And before 2025, we have 18 priority tasks. And the first of the 18 tasks is to exercise some pilot trials in Yangpu Bonded Port area and other areas where conditions permit to exercise the first line opening up and the second line control. Which means that in the first phase of the development of FTP, we need to give full play to the Yangpu Bonded area as well as other relevant areas to do some trial runs. Which means that the Yangpu Bonded area is a pilot area in the FTP. And in this area, we will release supervision in terms of international trade and strengthen import and export management within the area. That is the early harvest in this regard. All the efforts and measures that will facilitate trade and investment, liberalization and facilitation will be exercised in the Yangpu Bonded area, because this will be an exploration for us to gain more lessons and experience in the overall development of Hainan FTP. The success of the Yangpu Bonded area will be of crucial importance to the island-wide special customs regime as well as the overall development of the Hainan FTP. To facilitate trade and investment liberalization and facilitation, we have reviewed the current experience in the supervision and management of bonded areas and special supervision areas and released a special regulation method regarding the Yangpu bonded port area, and it has been officially released on June the 3rd. I suggest that you read this regulation carefully. It's not very long, but it's very specific. It has mainly 8 following aspects. First, it has very clear value-added processing tax policies. For those designated companies whose products does not contain imported materials, or those with imported materials, but they have added value exceeding 30%, they can go out of the zone without import duties charged, and they will only be levied with import value-added tax and consumption tax. So we have two areas, two things that need your attention. First, these are only targeted at some designated companies, and the duties that will be exempted is only the import duty. And second is we have simplified the first line declaration, except for those products that are required by international convention or other agreements that need to be declared. Other products will not have to be declared by the companies, which means that the companies will have more freedom to import products. Third is to highlight the freedom within the zones. We will strengthen the responsibility of enterprises in the area and encourage their self-discipline, which means that under general circumstances, enterprises can carry out transit, consolidation, processing and manufacturing, trading, research and development, remanufacturing, testing and maintenance, and other business without prior approval from the customs. There will be no storage period for goods in the area, and we have abolished the management procedures of account books. We will also use the big data platform to identify risks, and we will only focus our supervision on some key areas and key products and key vehicles. And fourth, we will tighten second-line supervision inside and outside the bounded areas. Especially, we will tighten the supervision at the gates for those vehicles, products, materials, and people entering and going out of the zone. We will have specific regulation and supervision. And fifth, we have reformed our statistical methods. Previously, we carry out real-time and case-by-case statistic collecting, but now we have a unified information management system, and it will automatically summarize all the statistics. And sixth, we support the development of international transit consolidation, except for those prohibited products. Companies can carry out transit consolidation in designated areas in this region, in this area, and we can use electronic system to do the approval and other procedures. And seventh is to establish an interagency management system. We have a unified information management system. Therefore, we will have a unified and standardized and true information database. And this data can be shared by different government agencies and regulators. And all the local authorities and different departments are invited to join in this interagency management system. And eighth, we will not prohibit residents to establish commercial facilities, because the FTP is about commercial operations. Therefore, we will not have prohibitions on residents establishing profit-making commercial facilities, because currently no people are allowed to establish profit-making commercial facilities inside bounded areas. So this will be a new creation in China. Going forward, the General Customs will work actively to ensure the high quality and high standard development of the Yangpu bounded area, and review what we have tried in this area, and learn from the lessons and experience, and expand our experience and expertise in other areas inside Hainan Province. Thank you very much.
谢谢主持人。大众网海报新闻记者提问：总体方案的正式公布，为海南的发展带来了新版的历史机遇。海南将如何利用政策优势，进一步改善营商环境？人民群众又将从自贸港的建设中享受到哪些政策红利？谢谢。
How will the people benefit from those policies?
比较优势啊，
Thank you for your question. Hainan has its comparative advantages. It has sound eco-environment, and number 2, it has sound business environment, and number 3, it has sound policy environment. In this sense, the business environment is one of the determining factors for the success of FTP. The overall objective of the development of business environment in Hainan is to make it world-class. The overall requirement is law-based, international, and convenient. As we promote the business environment in Hainan, we will give priority to 2 aspects. Number 1, transparency. Number 1, fairness, transparency, and predictability. Fairness means that domestic and foreign investors will be treated equally, private and public investors will be treated equally, local and outside investors will be treated equally. There would not be any strings attached. There would not be any nepotism. In terms of transparency and predictability, will mean that how to get things done is something that the government must do in accordance with relevant and transparent pathways and procedures. Only in this way, the market entities can have predictability about the procedures and outcomes of their business operation. And number 2, we need to properly manage the relationship between the government and businesses. We need to further respect the entrepreneurs and the businesses. It is up to the businesses and entrepreneurs to decide whether the business environment is sound, not up to the government or the leaders or the evaluation system. In your question, you mentioned that there is a very interesting question. How will the people benefit from the FTP? Well, I think this is a very interesting question because in the overall plan, there are a lot of provisions about trade, investment, and other business activities. It mentions a lot of business supporting policies. It seems to have nothing to do with the public. But if you read between the lines, you can see that the overall plan, the development of the FTP, can deliver tangible benefits to the people. For the residents in Hainan, they can enjoy a lot of benefits. We have some statistics. General Secretary Xi Jinping made important remarks a couple of years ago. Since then, the number of our market entities increased by about 400,000. And the total number increased by 66%. We have 154,000 businesses increased by 60.8%, and we created 400,000 more jobs. In this way, the Hainan benefits now enjoy more employment opportunities. Among the 154,000 businesses, 117 businesses are invested by Fortune 500 companies. So in this way, the Hainan residents not only have employment opportunities, but also more choices of high-quality jobs. For the Hainan residents, they can have much more benefits. For example, in terms of consumption, just now, Minister Zhou mentioned that in the overall plan, the local residents can have duty-free access to some daily products, which would be managed in accordance with the relevant list. So with the development of the FTP, Hainan residents can buy a lot of imported goods at a lower price, and the goods would be exempt from tariff and other import-related taxes and consumption tax. What kind of benefit would this bring to people up and down the country? Well, it can deliver benefits. First and foremost, we would significantly optimize the offshore duty-free policy. So in this way, Hainan would become a very popular shopping destination. And apart from being a heaven of vacation for the Chinese people, we hope that Hainan would also become a heaven of shopping for the Chinese people. Secondly, Hainan FTP would set a very good example for visionary people in China and across the world. It can create a lot of development opportunities, which were already mentioned by my colleagues just now. Recently, people are talking about the younger generation and the elder generation. Well, this is a relative term, because before the elder generation, there were some elder generation, and after the later generation or younger generation, there would be even younger generations. And, well, throughout the way, Hainan welcomes your visit. In the interest of time, we have 2 more questions here, only 2 last opportunities. Thank you. It covers trade, investment, finance. There are a lot of solid steps to be taken. My question is for the office of the leading group, how to ensure the implementation of the overall plan. Thank you for your question. In order to strengthen the leadership of the development of the FTP, the central government has decided to set up a leading group. An office is located at the NDRC, which is responsible for the daily work of the leading group. In order to implement the important instructions of General Secretary Xi, as well as the overall plan, the office would further perform its duties. It would provide stronger services and accelerate relevant work. We hope to provide sufficient services, coordinate relevant work promptly. We will work together with Hainan authorities to ensure the success of various work. Properly, we can strengthen efforts in 4 areas. Number 1, strengthen list-based management, and further implement the responsibilities of all tasks. The overall plan has been released. We will, based on it, further divide the responsibilities and make annual plans and make clear the requirements and responsibilities and specific authorities and departments to implement them. And we will focus on all tasks and implement all the important duties and ensure that all the tasks would be implemented fully and faithfully. From the overall plan, you can tell that there are a lot of tasks crying out to be done. They are very complicated and pressing, and they are very challenging tasks. Our office would make list for every task and take solid steps to carry out all the work and ensure that no stone would be left unturned. Number 2, we will strengthen study research and make some forward-looking policy suggestions. Hainan FTP would be an unprecedented endeavor. We would unavoidably meet various risks and challenges, so it is all the more important to carry out study and research. Our office would regularly visit Hainan for field missions and trips, listen to the views of groundline workers, and identify problems promptly, make analysis, and provide recommendations to resolve them. In this field, we would allocate some people to work in Hainan for most of the year. They would carry out field studies. This is not empty slogan, but tangible work. Our people will listen to the views of local governments, the business people, listen to their views and suggestions and appeals, listen to the aspirations of the general public, and have the first-hand experience and make recommendations to the central government. Number 3, we would strengthen coordination and form synergy. The development of FTP in Hainan is a systemic task covering so many fields and aspects. It requires coordination and collaboration between different authorities. Our office will provide better services, take the initiative to communicate with Hainan and other line ministries. In particular, we would go to the front line. We will coordinate the matters on the ground and implement all the policies fully and faithfully. Now we have the party secretary and governor of Hainan here. Let me say this. We will make special arrangements and establish fast lanes for Hainan. We will use the highest speed and efficiency to advance the implementation of all the major tasks for Hainan. Number 4, strengthen supervision and evaluation and make sure that all the policies would be fully implemented. The office would keep track of all the tasks, and on an orderly basis, we will coordinate our work, carefully study the inadequacies in policy implementation, and identify recommendations for resolving the problems. We will also establish a notification mechanism and supervise the implementation of major items and report important matters to the leading group. Generally speaking, under the leadership of the group, we will work together with other authorities and departments, work together with Hainan to ensure the success of Hainan FTP. The last question, please. Thank you. Hong Kong Economic Herald. The environment, air and water in Hainan is very good. So in the development of Hainan FTP, how to properly manage the relationship between environment and economic growth? Thank you.
Thank you for this question. In developing the FTP in Hainan, we will and we must protect the environment. This is the bottom line. Our purpose is to make the environment only better. This has all along been our philosophy guiding economic development. When inspecting the Hainan Province in 2013, General Secretary Xi stressed that the green mountains and the clean rivers, the blue ocean and the sky are the largest capital and the strongest advance of Hainan. People cannot buy it with money. People cannot borrow it from others. We must all the more cherish what we have. We We have remembered this instruction from General Secretary Xi Jinping and to implement his instructions. We have always put the environment front and center, regardless of the GDP revenue. If the project will damage the environment, we will just abandon this project. We have implemented a set of measures over the past 2 years. Many people care about the air quality, and in 2017, the PM 2.8 is about 18, and then it dropped to 17, and then 16 in 2019, so 1 point lower every year. But that requires hard efforts. Our goal is that by 2030, this number will be a single-digit number, will be below 10. But how can we achieve this target? There are measures that we have already taken. We are using clean energy, and we will expand the use of clean energy to across the island. And second, by 2030, we will stop the sale of diesel fueled vehicles. And starting from the end of this year, we will abandon the use of certain plastic materials, including plastic bags and plastic utensils. That those plastic products that is dissolvable to the environment will be abandoned. And fourth, in the rural areas, people use to use firewood. But we are now connecting them to natural gas, and by 2030, hopefully, we will expand the access of natural gas to all the rural areas. And also the coverage of forest, it has been maintained above 62%. We have over 44 million square kilometers of tropical forests, and this will be developed into a national park, conservation park. The project has been approved, and we will further develop this national park. And then we will renovate and improve the living environment in different areas, including in the coastal lines and including surrounding some polluted waters and rivers. And also we have restrictions in terms of where we can have those projects. We have established 20 industrial parks, and by June the 3rd, 11 of them were officially launched. So those new projects will be operated inside those designated industrial parks, and the parks will have their own authority in operating and managing those projects. And inside each parks, we will have very good services in terms of education, the best kindergartens and primary schools, so that people will be more willing to join those industrial parks. And thirdly, in the selection of what kind of industries will be introduced into the island. We will focus on tourism, modern services, and high-tech industries. These are the 3 priority areas. For high-tech industries, we will focus on rice breeding and deep sea studies, marine economy, and also industries surrounding the satellite launching site in Wenchang City and other relevant industries. So we will have a very strict selection process for the industries. That's the end of today's press briefing. Thank you very much.